Mike Zornow. I've had the great pleasure of knowing Mike for a few years now. We've played golf together. He's an excellent golfer. Never taken a lesson, but very, very good. Mike is an employee at ConnectWise. I did this interview with him at Automation Nation, IT Nation, Automation Nation in ConnectWise headquarters early September 2024, where he hosted a hackathon where the MSP guests, the technical guests, had to solve a puzzle by Mike and his team. Really cool concept. Been doing it for a long time. Really enjoys hyperautomation and the way we have a great conversation about the intersection of hyperautomation and artificial intelligence. Great conversation with Mike. I thank him so much for it. Thanks for listening. Hi, I'm Joey Pinz, and here's my 45-second introduction. After starting my business in the 90s, I started developing poor habits of eating in my diet because I was working way too much. Before you know it, I found myself 340 pounds. The doctor told me if I don't lose the weight, I'm not going to see my daughter graduate. Took the next 7 months, lost 130 pounds. People think there's some secret. Ask me, how'd you lose that weight? Like there's some secret. There is no secret. How'd I lose the weight? Just one word, discipline. I've had other successes in life, and I attribute them all to discipline. Now, I'm not the king of discipline, but I believe that it can help all of us. Friends, colleagues convinced me to start a podcast. The podcast mission? How do we better ourselves and society? I talk to interesting people in health, fitness, sport, wellness, business, technology, science, art, and culture. And I eventually ask them how discipline plays a role in their life. Podcast vision, growth through learning from others. Yeah, Mike, great to have you. Thanks for your time today.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me, Joe.
What's the difference between bad golf and slow golf?
Bad golf and slow golf. Bad golf can be played quickly. Slow golf is bad for everybody.
Bad golf is acceptable, slow golf is not.
Exactly. There you go.
Yeah, that's the way I look at it too. We were talking earlier. We're at the same club there, and just the pace of play has to be encouraged.
Enjoyment of the game does not depend on how well you play. Golf as an activity takes long enough as it is.
Yes.
Making it quicker is better for you, better for your family.
At my old course up north, there was I wanted to go out first, and the pro said, well, there's a young man who's here. Why don't you play with him? He plays kind of slow. I said, great. I'll work with this young man. I'll work with him. So, we went out the first couple holes, and he's standing over the ball a long time, Mike. And he's looking at it, and he's kind of talking a little bit. I'm like, come on, young man, just give it a nice whack at it. Stop overthinking it. He goes, what do you think about my arm and everything? I said, just try to get a point and just try to hit it there, man. Just try to hit it there. And by the 13th or 14th hole, he said, you've been moving me along, and I haven't even realized it, and I haven't been playing worse at all. So a lot of times it's just they just don't realize.
I think people don't take the my favorite analogy is shooting a free throw. Things like putting, things like making an athletic sport. There's a lot of people that overthink. They try and do too much and make it. Look at what you want, where you want to hit it. Don't think about your form. Don't think about your elbow. Don't think about where your weight is. Be athletic. React. The ball's not moving, but you still got to react.
Because there's some pros who play pretty slow.
Yeah, they are very deliberate. I understand they're playing. Scotty Scheffler made $62 million this year. I understand there are different things on the line for them.
Yes.
But I think it detracts from the enjoyment of the people watching when the game gets that slow.
I remember once I was at the Masters, and I think it was like Kevin Na, who's slow and great player, and Crane, I forget his first name.
Ben Crane.
Ben Crane. Yeah. And Kevin Na was on the 10th tee, and he kept taking it back and stopping it. He kept apologizing. He's like, sorry guys. He's apologizing because he doesn't even, it's like in his head. And he's notorious for like pulling the ball out quickly. He's got a lot of kind of superstitions going on there.
Yeah, I know he's worked on his game a lot to be a lot faster, and it is a skill. I mean, I think it's a definite skill to be able to play the game well and quickly. When again you're reacting, you have to get up to the ball and you have to react. You can't wait for the wind to be right. You gotta pull the trigger at some point.
Good friend of mine, Rob Labritz, made the I'm sorry, it's not called the Senior Tour, it's
the
called
Champions
Tour.
Yeah.
And he says golf is
for about a minute. I think he says 90 seconds. For 90 seconds, I play. So while he's walking to his ball, he doesn't think about it. He talks to his caddy, maybe talks to others. But as soon as he gets to his ball, he's got 90 seconds to get it ready and then hit it. And so I only play in sets of 90 seconds. It's an interesting way of looking at it.
Yeah, having focus, I think, is one of the biggest things that, as you try and transition into a higher level game, is having that focus and being able to ensure that, again, like Rob is saying, focus for those. You can't focus for especially at the pro level. You can't focus for 5 straight hours. That is a mental test that I don't think anyone can go through. But being able to focus for those, even if it's 30 seconds, like, all right, I've read plenty of mental books, and there's a lot of great systems out there on how to approach hitting a shot, and it's 30 to 45 seconds of focus, of intentional thought, this is what I'm going to do, and then executing.
It's a great sport, but it's a humbling sport.
Yes, I've been humbled many times.
Yeah.
Just when you think you have it, you don't sleep well the night before. You don't feel right. You wake up, back's not feeling, neck's not feeling right. What I got to compensate today, and sometimes it's just nerves and pressure. Like I in my earlier days, I put a lot of pressure on myself.
Did you?
Yeah, I wouldn't sleep. I'd sleep 2 hours, the night before, where I would just run through every shot. I've got to do this. This is what I need. Where I need to execute, and then I would not execute.
Really? So you, like, in your head, you play the whole backwards kind of thing?
Some of play the whole backwards. Some of it was, this is where I can take advantage, and I put a lot of pressure on myself when I didn't really have to, like going up and again. Being reactive and just hitting the shot. You need, I've hit a million drivers in my life.
Right.
Just go up and hit another. Like, there is no, all right, I've got to be this precise. I've got to take this approach. Just step up and hit it.
Yeah, get up there and hit it. Yeah, I say that very often. I was playing so well for a couple of months, and now I'm in a slide, and then it just peaks and valleys in the sport, because you try to practice out of it, and just sometimes you have and sometimes you don't. The pros say the same thing.
Yeah, I've been doing a few things recently where because I play Sunday mornings, and
Yes.
I play with same group of guys, so it's typically, kind of rinse and repeat, but I've done a few things recently, playing from the red tees. What a blast. Just being able to go up completely different look at the course, different strategy, and then just trying to make as many birdies as you can, because that's when you get to a higher level, people get scared of going low. Being able to, hey, I've never been 6-7 under before. You play from the red tees, you might be 8-9 under. Being able to take that approach, or playing with a half set of, instead of, all right, this is a stock 8 iron again. Well, my 8 iron's not in the bag. How do I chip a 6 iron 162 yards to be able to take a different approach and be able to? For me, it's feels. I've never taken a lesson in my life.
Wow.
I've never had one lesson.
Really?
I'm a field player. My alignment's off. I do a lot of things that a coach would say, you need to change that, but again, I play once a week, so it's taking those lessons and having fun and being able to say, all right, like, what can I do here? Like, how can I get my feel for the game of knowing your face, and essentially where's the face and where's it coming down the path, and how would I match it all up and hit the right shot?
I see that often where the kind of the higher handicaps are playing too far back. They need to move over. It's a pride thing, and I realize it's a male thing. But, you got to kind of get over that, because you want to play well. Nobody wants to shoot in the hundreds or anything if they can, right?
I think that's it's definitely an ego-driven sport. There's a lot of the things that are emphasized in the game. Look at Bryson. That guy he flies at 340 yards.
Sure
I can do that. No, you can't.
No, you can't.
No, you can't.
Yeah.
Play within yourself and do what you can do. I've always enjoyed the mantra of play the up tees until you can shoot even par. Move back. Play those till you can shoot even par. Move back.
That's good advice.
I think it's something. I know I'm a advisory board member on the first tee, so one of the things that they teach a lot of their kids is they all right, we're going to start parting, then we're going to start chipping, and then we're going to keep moving back, and so that they understand, like, I don't have to just smash driver to be successful. You know, at the very highest level, smashing driver is a kind of a key to success. But that's, you know, the 1% of the 1%. So, but for the enjoyment of the game, like understanding how to play within yourself, how to manage the game and manage the courses, I think it's a huge thing.
Yeah, and another thing I always hear the pros kind of give advice to the high handicappers is use more club. You know, a lot of well, you know, I hit my 165 every time. No, you don't. You hit it there a couple of times.
Yeah, the best 5 out of the last 20 were 165.
Yeah. So, I've done that. I've turned kind of into a puncher where I just kind of keep it low and I keep the swing short in the back. I have to use more club, but I'm hitting more greens.
Exactly. It's a very similar approach for me. If you look at my backswing, I don't think I've completed a backswing in some time, but it's all about managing your misses and managing expectations of, all right, I can be very consistent, and, you know, consistent even with a wedge might be a 10-yard gap, but most greens are a little more than 10 yards deep. So I know I'm going to hit it. I know I'm going to hit the green somewhere, and, you know, take a chance. Maybe I roll a putt in.
You know, working from the green out, like with the kids, is really important. I remember Patrick Cantlay came to, when he was still an amateur. I think he was in California. I think he was in California. And he played at our tournament up in Hartford, and he was an amateur, and I think he shot a 59. I think he got the course record, and you're able to talk to them a little bit more, you know, because nobody knows who they are. And I was actually talking to him, and he was saying, well, I'm not long, so I have to work on my short game a lot. And what happens is when you work on your short game, your long game actually ends up getting longer because you're learning how to connect better, you learn how to make more connection. So he actually worked backwards like that, and now of course he's one of the best pros there.
Yeah, I think it's being able to ensure. It's a confidence issue, especially when I'm not a great long iron player. I don't hit the ball long enough, so I'm gonna, you know, it's a 500-yard par 4. I'm gonna have, you know, a 4 or 5 iron in. I know I have the short game to get up and down, so I'm gonna hit my best shot I can. But I have the confidence now to hit a better, you know, approach or a chip around the green and make a putt. And being able to, that confidence is one thing that I see a lot of my playing partners, they either lack or just don't care about having that confidence to know, like, I can get up and down. Like the guys I play with know I make a lot of putts, and I make a lot of 8 to 10 foot par putts, and that is for them, they hate it. For me, I know it's just a round saver and a bet saver.
Oh, the short game, 150. My perfect shot, Mike, when I dream at night, is a short chip that I get close to the hole. That's where I never think about long drives. I don't think about long iron. I just love that part of the game. We're here at ConnectWise Tampa headquarters. We're here in the first floor, Automation Nation. What lessons that we have from golf that we can transform over to and help our MSPs better?
I think a lot of the things, I led a hackathon session this morning.
Sure did.
One of the things I think is process. I think one of the things I heard from a few of the different attendees was having a process, knowing what tools that we need to use, similar in the game of golf.
Right.
What is your process? What are the things that you do consistently every time? What are the tools that are going to help you succeed? So being able to put everything into place and then knowing the right time and place to implement them. I think that's one of the things that I would, you know, correlate between the game of golf and you know, doing something like a hackathon, is be able to, all right, I have these tools, I have this process, how can I become more efficient? How am I going to make this better?
Yeah, and keeping it simple, right, and not over tooling. What is a hackathon exactly?
So I've ran quite a few hackathons in my time at ConnectWise, and hackathons in the ConnectWise world are showing our community how to best utilize our products. So probably 6 or 7 years ago, I started, may have still been Lab Tech days, we had a scriptathon and a hackathon, and it's really about showing our community how to get the most out of it, because we have some people that are power users that have used the product inside and out for the last 12 years, and other people that are just getting used to it and trying to figure out what can I leverage in the product, and having those experts be able to show off what they can do with, a prize attached at the end, being able to, hey, you get free admission to IT Nation next year, you
Nice.
get, some sort of cash prize, whatever it is, and being able to show off, this is what's possible. Like, here's automation that you may be doing manually. You're using resources, you're using another piece of software. You can script that. You can use our APIs to create that functionality. So being able to take some piece of software, some feature functionality of that software, and be able to show off, these are things you can do with it.
So I was thinking hackathon was more like you kind of present a puzzle and they have to come up with a solution.
What I've found is most successful is I present an objective. Here's an objective. The one I did this morning was around creating a SOAR solution, so security orchestration, automation, and response. So being able to utilize that framework of, okay, I need to create this. Here's the tools I have at my disposal. How do I create something that works for my company? Because there's so many MSPs that run things differently. They have different philosophies. They're in different, some are startups, some are empire builders. They're in very different places, but how can they utilize the products that they have to create those efficiencies within their organization?
What's your goal at Automation Nation, Mike?
My goal is to show off hyperautomation and that how our partners can best utilize it to make those efficiencies in their organization. I think being able to, a lot of these partners that we have just coming to learn, we have very large pieces of software. I mean, I've been here for 12 years, so
Yeah.
they've been along for longer than 12 years, and then being able to add the different pieces of functionality like hyperautomation, and how do we put it all together? I think that's one of the biggest things is, how do I put all these different pieces of software that I have into a coherent and functional thing that my team can utilize? So instead of expanding through headcount, how can I expand through automations and efficiencies gained?
When I talk to MSPs, three things keep them up at night. One is security. They're worried about their clients clicking on something. Second is human capital. If my technician leaves, how am I going to replace them? How am I going to get new? And third is growth. They're generally not very good at sales and marketing. Hyperautomation seems to actually affect all three.
Yeah, absolutely. I think being able to implement it in the right way, again, for our creating a SOAR solution, you can use hyperautomation to solve some security gaps, whether it's through eliminating a piece of software, improving processes so that everyone, we're utilizing the technology to keep people informed, that we're creating some sort of I feel like I keep saying efficiencies, but being able to create that without that human capital that's needed. So being able to take some of the things that we have in our software and educating yourself, so you don't have to keep adding additional headcount. Like, invest a few $100s in either education through Automation Nation or IT Nation events, just taking the time through using our university courses, or even engaging yourself with our community, things like MSP Geek, other places that people have shown themselves to show, this is how I've utilized it and gotten the most out of it, and taking the stand on the shoulders of giants instead of like, oh, I gotta recreate this myself. People have done it before. There's a lot of MSPs out there. A lot of them are sharing what they've done. So taking that is, I think, some of the benefits to be able to, reduce that headcount, improve their security, and it's going to improve your growth as well, because you're able to do more with less.
Where does AI and hyperautomation meet?
So one of the things I'm actually working through now is using hyperautomation and AI together to create some of those efficiencies. There's things out there like ChatGPT and Claude and Copilot. How do we leverage those technologies to gather information quickly and present it in a readable format? So, a security incident occurs. Let's take a look at the logs. Let's see, what users may be affected, and be able to put that directly into a ticket, so that triaging process isn't a manual process, and being able to leverage playbooks and things like that. So taking these different sources that you may have information in your emails, Teams chat, documents, Excel spreadsheets, PowerPoints, whatever it is. Let the AI do the work for you. Pull that information where it's a repeatable process where we're, people are still going to have to be involved. People still have to do some of this work at the end of the day, but leveraging the resources that we have to make it easier, and that we're not, doing a manual process of, all right, let me get the book out and open to page 42, like triage that into a ticket and be able to utilize AI to leverage the information at hand.
What do you want the MSPs that are here this week, Mike? What do you want them to walk away with?
I think the knowledge that they can essentially make their own future with a lot of these automations that they're creating. I think possibilities is the biggest thing. One of the things that I learned this morning from our partners is that a lot of them didn't seem very comfortable with the use case at when I first presented, like create a source solution using hyperautomation. A lot of them gave I'm not sure what that means, but as we talk through each use case of, all right, you get a ticket in, like who's had a security instance in the last 12 months? Everyone raise their hand. It's happening everywhere. All right, what's your process today? Now, how do I leverage what I have, within my organization, and how can I automate that? I think a lot of light bulbs started turning on of, here's the possibilities that are out there, and being able to know that I have technology on my side to do that, and I don't have to, I don't have to educate myself. I don't have to be a cybersecurity expert. I know process. I know what we need to do, and leveraging that, I think, is one of the big takeaways, and what I want them to take away as well.
Yeah, MSPs can save so much time by this automation, by hyperautomation. What's down the road with hyperautomation? What's the future look like?
I think a community-driven aspect is going to be a big part of it. Having a marketplace of these RPA solutions, these workflows, to be able to utilize that. Again, our community is very strong. It's a large community of mature MSPs that may have processes in there, and newer startups that are still trying to figure out what are the processes I need to implement, and having technology be able to drive that gap is be able to, I can use hyperautomation to my advantage to, perform XYZ, and it being able to ensure that, that the community's aware of how to properly use it and take advantage of it.
Yeah, it's exciting. It's exciting time. And the MSP owners that don't want to be involved with the hyper, because there's not many owners here today. It's mostly the technicians or the operations.
Yep.
What do you say to the owners?
I think a lot of it is going to be, watch these hackathons, watch these spaces where we're showing off this technology and show how it's going to be beneficial to you. Again, the three things you mentioned before: how is this going to help with security? How is this going to reduce my headcount? How am I going to grow? Watching your technicians take advantage of learning sessions like this to be able to, create efficiencies within your organization. That's gonna be huge for the owners. Like, if you're a decision maker and your decision is, should I buy this hyperautomation solution for X dollars a month, or should I take on a security engineer that costs $150K a year? That decision's a little bit easier when you see the benefits and the processes. If you can leverage community to utilize those already innovative solutions, instead of I need to start from scratch and hire my own, build out my own practice, things like that.
Yeah, I think it's important for the business owners to know the power of hyperautomation.
Yeah, there's so much new technology out there that's implemented. The MSP market is becoming an interesting place where there's a lot of solutions, but one company has a lot of solutions, and that seems to be a growing trend. They've every company has their RMM, their PSA, their documentation, their backup security, all baked into a solution. How can we teach them to best leverage that? I think is the biggest part of that solution.
It's exciting time. You mentioned you've been here 12 years, ConnectWise.
Yes.
What's the biggest change that you've seen happen?
Oh, a lot.
Yeah, completely different company.
When I started the night shift for lab tech support. I worked 4 to midnight, so I talked to all of our California partners and all of our Australian partners, and it was a bit of the Wild West of people, processes, things like that. I think some of the biggest changes really focus around, again, how we leverage technology instead of throwing people at things. Back in the day, we threw a lot of people at a lot of problems, and being able to, I think it's the build by partner strategy has really evolved in my time at ConnectWise, where instead of putting everything on our product teams, hey, we need to build this feature, our competitors doing this, we need to build this. Well, let's look if we can partner with someone like our Sentinel One partnership, or if we make an acquisition, being able to buy someone that's going to fill one of our gaps that we have. So I think that's one of the biggest things of utilizing the growing community of software providers, many of them ConnectWise colleagues that have created their own software, and then being able to turn around and either partner with them, buy their software. I think that's been a huge change in my time.
Yeah, that kind of evolution of people going out making their own solutions and trying to help. It's part of the innovative and entrepreneurial spirit of this community, I think.
Absolutely. Sean Lardo, who runs our Pitch It program with Andrea Barrow, the amount of coaches that they have that have had some foot in the ConnectWise world, it's truly kind of inspiring to see a lot of those people come back around and want to give and give back to the community, to say, this is what I did. I spent my time at ConnectWise. I saw there was a gap in the market. I created this. This is how I partnered back with ConnectWise to market and expand my my presence within the MSP world. It's been it's a pretty cool thing to see how people have gone for full circle.
So as far as Automation Nation, I mean, they kind of revised it. It was gone for a while, and it came back, and it's every quarter. Where's that going?
So being able to tie this with IT Nation, being able to expand product knowledge. This is one of the things that we did quite a bit when I started, was having a full 3-day Automation Nation. I think we somewhat went away from that a little bit, just as we are, the community grew, being able to influence the decision makers as to why the products are good. I think we still missed a little bit of, we need to teach people how to do this. And we've got our university and our partner success team that help enable our partners to be able to use the most of our products, but being able to have in-person learning labs, I think, is a huge part of where we need to drive growth moving forward. Being able to utilize the products efficiently, effectively, be able to network with other MSPs, just to be able to ask them, well, how are you solving this problem? Like, we're all doing automation, but like, what are the things that make an impact? Like, is it through security? Is it Microsoft-led automation? Being able to find that out and going through some of that networking, I think, is another big thing.
It's exciting. It's an exciting time, and IT Nation Connect is going to be huge, and Automation Nation is going to be a full day before, or 3/4 of a day, or something like that. But it's going to be bigger and better than ever. Mike Zornow, thanks so much for your time today.
I appreciate it. Thanks, Joe.
You were great at this. I appreciate it. You have a good day.
We'll see you on the course.
Absolutely.
Thank you for listening and or viewing Joey Pinz Discipline Conversations. Please share this episode with 1 or 2 of your friends who you think may benefit from the episode. Our website, www.joeypinz.com. There you'll find lots of resources, and you could join our mailing list. Please follow us on all our social media, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Podcast information. The video version of our podcast is on YouTube. Please subscribe. Audio is on all major podcasting platforms. Please follow them. And if you like it, please consider giving 5-star rating. Would really appreciate that. Thank you again for listening or watching Joey Pinz Discipline Conversation.